नमस्कार दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है करम योगी दिवाकर बोथरा और मैं आप सबका अपने चैनल पर स्वागत करता हूं। आज ईपीडब्ल्यू की जगह हम देखेंगे थियरी ऑफ एवरीथिंग। थियरी ऑफ एवरीथिंग एक ऐसी सीरीज़ है मेरी जहां पे मैं हर एस्पेक्ट को कवर करता हूं। एनवायरनमेंट से लेके साइंस एंड टेक से लेके हिस्ट्री, वर्ल्ड वॉर्स, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, कल्चर, टेक्नोलॉजी, फिलोसफी, पॉलिटिकल एस्पेक्ट्स, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ। आज के टॉपिक में हम देखेंगे एपिसोड नंबर 3 है। ऑलरेडी 2 एपिसोड है जो आप देख सकते हो उस रेस्पेक्टिव प्लेलिस्ट के अंदर जो बनाई हुई है। आज इकोलॉजी वाले एस्पेक्ट के कुछ डायमेंशंस देखेंगे और इकोलॉजी के अंदर देखेंगे एक टॉपिक जिसका नाम है इकोलॉजिकल निश। अगर हम नॉर्मल तरीके से समझना चाहें तो हर किसी के एक जैसे बोलता ना कि सपनों का जहां, ये एक अलग चीज़ है और एक जो रियलिटी में रहते हो वो अलग चीज़ है। हमारे हर किसी के अपने अपने कंडीशन है, बेस्ट कंडीशंस, जिसके अंदर जो हम एक ऐसे कंडीशन जो हमारे सर्वाइवल के लिए बेस्ट तो गलत हो जाएगा, ऐसे कंडीशंस, दोज कंडीशंस which are good for our survival or at least ensure our survival. For example, some of us may largely require air condition for our survival. Some of us may require certain specific degree of calories. As we see in Indian society, as far as the calorie specific approach of poverty is concerned, in rural areas there was certain other number of calories, and in urban area the calorie requirement varied as per their definition. In similar manner, ecological niche are those conditions which are required for the survival of a particular species. The human life is regulated, but as far as the forest is concerned, the law of jungle prevails. The survival of the fittest is the only natural law which operates there. And if all the organisms, imagine, would have largely gone for a similar kind of food, there would be a strong competition present between the various species. And the individuals within those species, this would largely lead to a conflict, and definitely only some of those species would able to survive who would able to access these resources. And as a result, we do see there are certain omnivores, certain carnivores, certain herbivores. All of them have their different requirements. Some depend upon the stem, some depend upon the leaf, some depend upon the roots, some depends upon the fruits. Why such a mechanism was created? The God is one of the best engineer ever possible. We see such aspects were created so that the survival of every aspect can be ensured, and the stringent competitions at the best could be reduced to a level where the competitions becomes manageable. And from this perspective, let's look into what are ecological niches. But before that, just a small announcement. Our batch 4 of sociology at Study IQ, the only platform where I teach, the sociology batch 4 is going to start. And in this batch, every aspect of sociology would be covered, and I can assure you that all the sub topics would be covered here. If you have been following my lectures, I have been true to the core as far as the content is concerned. I don't have all those nonsense bakwas here. I purely rely on content because my target is the UPSC audiences who are really serious about their preparations and somehow are struggling for their preparation. If this is what you're requiring, this is what you want to enhance your knowledge and capacities of sociological imaginations, then you should definitely get into this batch. Let's look into organism niche. And obviously all these PPTs, all the previous lectures which have happened till now, the PPTs has been sent to my Telegram channel. The Telegram channel link, I'll just write it here if by chance you have missed it. This is the Telegram channel where you can follow, and you will get all these PPTs as well once the lectures are uploaded. An organism's niche is a combination of its place. All the word which I'm actually rounding it off, you should write it because this is specifically a topic which is going to be a great importance as far as your preliminary examination is concerned. Is a combination of its place and its role in the environment. This can be a statement in your question among which of the following factors are correct with respect to ecological niche. It encompasses how the organism meets its need, how it tries to fulfill the needs for survival of food and shelter. The needs could be of different type, but niche specifically talks about 2 specific needs. How do I meet the need of my food and how do I meet the need of my shelter? As well as how it avoids predators, how do I manage to escape from the predators, compete with other species, and reproduce. Therefore, if you look, ecological niche is such a broad term. In UPSC, they'll put you a catch. Among which of the following can largely be related to ecological niche? Food, shelter, competition with other species, and protection from the predators. All of the above. Now, do you get it? How the content has to be studied by keeping in mind how it could be considered as a question. If we go further, all its interactions with the other organisms which can belong to the same species or the other species, and the non-living environment are also part of what makes a niche. So niche is something that how a particular organism interacts with the other species or with the same with the individuals within the same species, and also with the non-living environment in which it takes its shelter. And unique niche is an advantage for any animal or a plant because this reduces competition with other species. You need to make a point very clear here. I know that you know, but still, niche is not just of an animal, it can also be of a plant. This itself can be a statement. And in a hurry, in many times in the examinations, we often see that we ignore such aspects. For ecologists, a full knowledge of organisms' niche is vital to inform bring interventions to compensate for the environmental changes caused by habitat destructions and climate change. For an ecologist or environmentalist, it's very important to know the niche of an individual, as once you know the niche of an individual, you can highlight why the population is increasing or why the population is dwindling and how their population can be ensured at a manageable level. So there has been a lot of content in this, and these content needs to be made notes of when you're watching this video. If you go further into the theory of ecological niche, because I want you to give that depth, get that depth, and that's the reason I'm doing an in-depth full study so that it helps you out. In 1920, ecologist Charles Elton looked beyond a simple habitat definition for niche. That means before 1920, niche was merely understood from the perspective of habitat. For him, what an animal ate and what it was eaten by were the primary factors. So according to Elton, there are two important aspects of niche. One, who ate me, and how and what is eaten by me are the two important aspects. But however, a more broader explanation was later given by after 30 years, that is somewhere around 1950s, by George Elwin Hutchinson. Expanded the definition yet further. He argued that niche should take into account of all of an organism's interactions with other organisms and its living environment, including geology, acidity of soil or water, or nutrient flows and climate. Now you need to mark this as important, because UPSC can ask you among which of the following are the part of ecological niche of an organism's: acidity of a soil or a water, nutrient flow, geology, climate. All of them are the mark. Please make the note in your ecology or environment book right now. Hutchinson's work encouraged others to expand variety of resources used by single organisms. And on the basis of this above broader understanding, different scholars gave their own aspects. For example, a question can come, what is niche breadth? Niche breadth क्या होता है? The variety of resources used by a single organisms. There are some people who only eat curd rice. There are some people who eat rice with any varieties of material. So they have wider niche. This is called as niche breadth. The types of the aspects or foods you consume, the way in which competing species coexist, niche partitioning, that how two different competing species, for example, if I'm eating the same plant, if other is also eating the same plant, how do how do you ensure that both of them exist? That is called niche partitioning. This can again be a question. Each of them can be a question in your prelims. And the overlap of resources by different animals and plant. Niche overlap. Niche overlap is something which is going to hamper your niche partitioning. So if the overlap is high, partitioning would become difficult. So please make sure just niche is not important, but these three terms are important. Normally, those Shankar types of book may not have it. Although this book is Shankar by Ecology is one of the best book of environment, but only it was 5 years down the line. The today's circumstances cannot be fulfilled by Shankar. You need to go into a more depth. I'm pretty much sure if any question tomorrow comes on ecological niche as far as your prelims is concerned, this slide in itself is sufficient for that. I hope now you will understand what's the meaning of depth. Now, what is the importance of habitat? Because since habitat is a very important aspect of ecological niche, habitat की importance क्या होती है? What exactly it is important for? Ecological niche depends upon the existence of stable habitat. This in itself again is an important statement which you should mark. Tomorrow this statement can come as a question. कि habitat, if it is not stable, ecological niche would always remain problematic. Habitat stability is very important. Small changes can eradicate niches that organisms fulfilled. For take an example of the niche of a sparrow in the urban towns, because the habitats are getting destroyed, the niche is getting destroyed, and when the niche is getting destroyed, the population of sparrows in the urban areas and towns and cities are coming down. Hutchinson argued that for a species to persist, conditions had to be within the required ranges. If the range crosses, increases or decreases, the population accordingly gets impacted. So without a stable habitat, the niche would not be rightly established and the organisms would definitely face a problem. Just for the sake of general knowledge, when I was reading this article in one of a fabulous book of ecology, in that I just got this fact. And I just wanted to share this fact because if any such fact comes with respect to the pandas as such, major food of panda is bamboo. Pandas can digest only small portion of what they eat and hence they have to eat a lot. Normally we often see that pandas eat more maybe because of their energy and others. No, they eat more because their digestive systems is something which is not able to digest a lot amount. Therefore, it's very weak. So they have to keep on eating for that small digestion which can take place. Pandas are not skilled predators. They are not skilled predators as such. Pandas eat different parts of the bamboo plants according to the season. Very important statement tomorrow. This can really be a question and which would be out of box and you would have to leave if you really don't know this. Their digestive tract is inefficient at processing large quantities of plant materials because it remains similar to that of its carnivorous ancestors. The earlier ancestors of pandas were carnivorous, but over a period of time because of the evolution they largely became herbivorous. Herbivores बनने के बाद में हुआ ये कि इनके जो digestive systems है अभी भी कहीं ना कहीं it's more like of carnivorous and hence they are not able to digest those bamboos and the other plants which they often eat. So if this is the way you really want to understand aspects, I hope in this lecture I made one thing very clear, that your ecological niche matter is sorted out as far as your prelims is concerned. Again a request which I'm pretty much sure most of you will not follow this. As over a period of time I have very well understood this, that the students only operate with individual will. I'm sorry to say that I'm generalizing this, I shouldn't be doing this, but that's okay. This is what I feel and I always say what I really feel about it. So if you're really enjoying this is the batch we are starting at Study IQ. If you want to get into this, you get in, but get in only if you're serious about your preparations, or else avoid the batch. Thank you.